Oh yeah, it is. What's the beef, baby? I'm your host, Baron Marf, and I'm joined as always by the legend himself, Angrylink. How you doing, buddy?
Trying to stay calm.
Ooh, he's vexed and ratty, folks.
Well, you know me, I don't really get too over enthusiastic about anything, really. So, you know.
Good.
It's one of those, there's a twitching of the eyebrows, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, but let's be honest, there's some petty shit going on this week. Petty shit.
Always petty. Well, it's something that's been building over some months.
But they're back.
Yeah. So obviously the trademark bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen it before from various other outlets and publishers. Obviously King tried it on with Stoic.
They did indeed. Trying to ban the use of oxygen or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was it. Anything with crush or candy. Fuck off. Considering that the game that they've based that on had been released 2.5 years, 3 years before they'd done theirs. And they basically just ripped it off and then forced the guy to take his down.
Yeah, legally moved him off the IP, yeah.
So obviously what stirred these hornet's nests of feelings is ZeniMax, Bethesda's parent company.
Mm-hmm, yep.
It's been recently come to light that they have forced an indie developer to change the name of their game. So, indie developers, No Matter Studio, released a trailer good few months back now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall exactly when.
Good 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah. They had a new title coming up called Pray to the Gods.
Yep.
It's very much sort of a survival Shadows of the Colossus kind of game where you've got these big massive boss-like titans that you've got to obviously take down. Not really a great deal about the game.
Is it pray as in to worship or pray as in to hunt?
No, as in obviously of the hunted kind.
Right, okay.
So, you know, it's got some good connotations about what the game's about.
Yeah.
You know, you're this little insignificant person that's probably going to be some meal.
Yeah.
But it seems that ZeniMax felt that the you know, with the same spelling of the word pray is their just released title, Prey. They felt that, you know, there'll be too much confusion that it's infringing on their trademark.
They're using the word the. Stop them.
Yeah, you know, it's
brilliant. So what have they done? What have they been up to? Little rapscallions, aren't they?
Like you say, I'd imagine this No Matter Studios is probably a dozen people at best. Like, there's a group of people that have cobbled together their funds to start a studio to make something that they wanted to make.
Shame on them.
Yeah. So obviously this little team is to avoid, well, again, I'd say little team, I don't know, it could be a studio of 50 people. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
They're the little underdog though, aren't they?
Yeah.
The little engine which could. Come on, guys.
In comparison to ZeniMax, yeah, it's like me trying to go up against Activision.
Yeah.
You know, so they've tried to avoid a legal battle, which the studio would have had to have used Kickstarter funds to finance.
That's not good.
No, so, you know, it potentially could have taken money away from the game.
They've taken the moral high ground, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've just kind of gone back to what they were originally going to go for with the name.
So wait, please tell me they've gone into a different sort of legal battle and called it I Pray.
No. Oh. No, they've just changed the spelling of Prey.
Right, okay.
Well, I say the spelling, they've used that funny little A and stuck together E. I don't know what that's called. My linguistics knowledge is just as good as the rest of it, really, so somewhat lacking. But because most people haven't got one of those on their keyboard...
thing that nobody knows what it's called.
No, yeah, that's
brilliant.
I only found out what that little squiggly line is called, a tilde.
Excellent.
So there's one, I know one. So unless you've got like the special character set up on the screen or something to quickly pop one in when you need it. They've just decided to obviously change the spelling from P-R-E-Y to P-R-A-E-Y.
Good.
So,
good.
You know, they don't even have to change the logo or nothing. But, you know, good for them. They didn't want to get into this protracted legal battle. Obviously, they filed the trademark last January, just gone. And then, I think within minutes, like the bat phone would have been going off in ZeniMax's lawyers department. And it's like,
get them, boys.
Trademark infringement.
Go.
And, you know, gets the Batcave.
Great. Well, I mean, I guess So that's not been the only beef for the week. There's been other little things which have been getting on, well, my nerves particularly. See, I'm one of these people that, like, if something doesn't blow up, I will go and find something which annoys me. And what's annoying me personally this week is game prices. Yeah, I want to go back to the old, how much are video games? I mean, over the years, we've seen prices haven't really moved for a long period of time.
No, I mean, we're still seeing Nintendo cartridges selling at the same prices that they were for their home consoles back when I was a kid.
Yeah, so they don't seem to drop in price, but they were 40 quid for years. Well, like years and years.
Like, I mean, pretty similar to this sort of pricing today is you got your standard sort of third party, not a great title, sort of mid-range AA title, and it's 40 quid every day of the week, bang that, 40 quid. Then you go to your higher end, sort of like your CODs, your Nintendo titles, and they're sort of 50, 55 quid.
These tend to be the new games. The other ones tend to be like the indie developer who's gone a bit further, or here's the HD version of the game you bought before. That's your 30 quidders and your 40 quidders, yeah.
But no, I like to say, you've got your mid-budget games that do tend to stick at that 40 because they know no one's going to pay 50 quid for it, so they're not stupid.
But, I think overall for decades there'd been this 40 quid title, and then in this generation, and it was hinting at it in the previous generation, they started bridging the gap beyond the £40 mark, where they said, look, here's some of the other things we can do, and also we deserve a bit more cash, and that's fair enough.
They have been saying though for years, isn't it, that game prices have got to go up or more people have got to buy the games. It's the two sort of a double-edged sword. Is that the right analogy to use?
But I'm okay with the financial side of the industry evolving. It should do. There is a thing as inflation. Money has less value.
The same way that
evolve.
A Mercedes costs more than a Lexus because whilst it's pretty much the same thing. There's obviously more money spent on it, and there's better efforts to make things better.
Well, you'd hope so. You're paying more for it. But yeah, it's exactly that.
It's not always the case, though, sadly, is it? Sometimes.
But do you know what? Recently, I stood back and I thought to myself, what am I actually getting for my money? So not so much how much am I spending on it, but what am I getting?
When was the last time you actually spent 50 quid on a game, and just 50 quid on a game?
So what? So there is that element of when did that last happen? But sort of trying to jump above that, I think there's this element of I used to buy a video game and it used to give me this, right?
Yeah.
So silly little things like there was no interactiveness from a different online play and all that sort of thing, but it gave me a complete game which wasn't patched. It couldn't be patched.
So it would, hopefully in its most playable state it could possibly be.
It was finished.
Well, if it was a Nintendo game, it was. If it wasn't a Nintendo game, maybe not.
But the point is what they pressed was it was done. That
what
old analogy of
what you got.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go back and fix this and make it better.
That waits for the sequel.
Yeah, and you got a full game and you paid a price for it, and that was it.
Yeah.
And in there, you got a certain amount of content. Yeah. So looking at sort of what we buy these days, they split out content, haven't they? So you've got your standard edition, that's your 45, but most of the time 50 quid version of the game, right? Then you've got your like deluxe, do you want to call it, or your intermediary sort of level purchase?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they go deluxe and ultra deluxe and super mega ultra faster deluxe, and sometimes they go gold and platinum and all that shit.
Game of the year ultimate deluxe edition.
So I think we can just accept verbalize it our way.
Yeah. So in this, you're looking at sort of 60 quid, and in there you'll get like some DLC. It will be.
Well, there'll be a crappy little pre-order bonus, won't there?
Yeah.
And then it's normally that and the base season pass, isn't it?
Well, in the deluxe version, I think for the 60 quid you usually get like an armor set or something like that, and then they go for their Uber version, which is like their ultimate edition. You need to spend more than £80.
I think just discussing it, we're sort of somewhat discovering that there isn't really a set formula, is it? Every fucking publisher does their own stupid, cheeky bastard things.
Well, they mix, so they all cut it up and mix it in different ways, but the principle is you don't get your £40. They want to price a season pass at 30 quid or more, so you can't have that until you pay for the big boy version. and then they want something to make you spend 10 or 20 quid more than their base price, which usually around 15 to 10 pound, and that's DLC.
I think it's probably loads of people are just going to slap their heads now and go, yeah, really? You didn't see that? But you know what it is that it's the money man, the accountant's gone, right, here's realistically what we can afford to price the base game at.
Yeah.
We can't go up from that, people won't buy it. Right. Here's what we actually need to sell per unit on what your projections are. So we need to make that £50 into this X pounds. How are you going to do that?
What items are we going to sell to the public to bump their
and it's one of those,
simple stuff.
When you get, say, you buy something for a certain weight and you get it and you have to, like, all petrol station, they're like, is it 29?
This is
97?
It. This is the beef.
And they're basically just going, right, we'll put on an armour.
Yeah, they're trying to tip
maybe
the
a sword. No, that's too much. We'll take the sword away. We'll put a hat.
A skin, an armour skin. There we go.
Yeah, skins. We forgot about them skins. Let's load some skins on because they're pointless and worthless.
So this is exactly my point, and this is the crux of my beef. It's that they are apportioning a certain amount of game or content to a value.
They're misappropriating value.
Well, going back to how it was when I'm sitting here saying I don't mind paying £50 for a game that used to be £40 10 years ago. I'm okay with that.
Game budgets have gone up.
Yeah, inflation and everything.
Well, you look at what it would have cost Nintendo to make, say, A Link to the Past, and now what it's cost them to make A Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like just the scale of the development teams.
So I'm totally fine with
covering and that's enormous. So yeah.
But the principle is that I got so much content back in the day which was not changeable, so it was the price, and that's the game that you got. Nowadays, you get in your Ultimate Edition, you get your copy of the game, right? Let's call that
the base
50
game,
quid, right? Okay. The pre-order bonus from the retailer, you get your deluxe skin armor set, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, deluxe bonus.
Yeah. And sometimes, and I'm going to caveat this with sometimes, the season pass, right?
Yeah.
And this is usually going to run you somewhere between £80 to £110 if it's like a Battlefield or a Battlefront or something like that.
Dependent on how greedy the publisher is, generally most of the time vary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in there you'll get, some extra levels, probably some extra characters, some extra guns.
And based on the companies that are charging that money for those things, what it generally turns out to be is what you're buying is actually the missing half of the game.
So I'm going to be really brutally fair, and I'm going to say I never feel like it's the specific part of the game that is missing. I just feel like it never warrants the amount of value they attribute to it when they sell it individually.
I mean,
to the amount of content they're actually providing you, and it feels too light. But either way, let's take the higher ground for a split second. Yeah, with all of that content, I would stand back and say, right, if I look at a Call of Duty, and I look at all of the stuff that I get for if I spend all the money and buy everything they can give me, season pass, super edition, all that, and I go, how much further away from a full game back in the day, 40 quid, there it is, there's everything, how much more value am I getting? Because now if the 50 quid value is equivalent to the 40 quid back in the day, this £110 version give me a fucking load more game.
You should be getting six fifths of a game.
Yes, exactly.
On top.
And I don't feel like I'm getting that.
No.
Even close. And this is where they're screwing you on the money.
I mean, there's certain ways, like Activision and Call of Duty, the minute that you mention them and season passes and DLC, I fucking turn my nose up and scoff and spit and cry all kinds of blasphemy at them. Well, no, it's not blasphemy, is it? But I've recently, we're releasing some Modern Warfare remastered map packs. Oh, right, okay. So what ridiculous fucking price are they going to be? Are they just, again, same price as what they were when they first come out the first time round? No, they're more. Because we've had to remaster them. What you mean you've had to just up the textures a bit?
Or you've actually had to just change the skin
Christ.
set. But yeah.
Forza Horizon 3, I think, is one of the only times that they've handled DLC well in terms of what their roadmap is. Because they've always said, right, here's the deluxe edition, that's for cars. You'll get new cars. That is it. We will release packs, we don't know what we're going to be releasing. So we can't price them yet. So we can't say that we're going to charge you 50 quid for 30 quid worth of fucking content.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's like the Blizzard pack, the last one that they did, Blizzard Mountain. I'm not really interested in that, so I don't have to buy it. I don't feel like, oh right, I'm buying stuff that I don't even know what I'm buying. Because look at the Battlefront season pass. I mean, most of the time, I would say, what, 80% of the people that bought the season pass, at the end of the season pass, there would have been the only stuff that you could really consider DLC was the fucking Death Star one and the Rogue One stuff. And that purely the Death Star one because it was actually a new kind of gameplay in there, if you will. And the Rogue One because they didn't have it when it was released.
Yeah.
There was no way they could have released that. So that's literally all of the other maps and the modes and all of this, that should have been in the base game.
Do you know what I'd like people to do? I'd like them to leave small little gaps in games. I mean small. Like, for example, it was her mother who brought her to this location at the beginning of her storyline. And then just take the DLC and go develop her mother's storyline completely separately and justify that as game rather than...
Don't, when fucking they... Asura's Wrath.
Link, be strong here, because we need to shut this beef down. We've got to close her out. But
that was the slimiest thing I've ever seen.
What ending do you want?
The one that I have to pay for. That's the one you have to go for. Luckily, I only rented the game, so I didn't mind chucking a few quid down for that extra ending. But
nice. So they sold you the ending. That's good of them.
No, it's Capcom.
Excellent.
So that was them. But
that's not like Capcom, because if you think of like Street Fighter 5 and it only released with 3 characters on it.
Yeah, because it's not. They've got a history of it at all.
Yeah, they're usually very good.
Goddamn DLC. Who was it the first? It's one of these that if you get a time machine, it's like, I'm going to go back and fucking put that cunt down.
All right, come on now. So, final thought. Any final thought from you? Any kind of...
If you want me to keep the game, make it compelling enough to keep.
That's a deep thought for the beef. That's deep. For me, final thought is back to the Prey stuff. I love the fact that after all of the legal shenanigans which has been going on, all that's going to happen is someone's going to go into a shop and go, have you got that Prey game? And it doesn't matter how they spell it, it's still going to happen exactly the same.
Is that the AE one or the E one?
Yeah, no, exactly.
That Shadow of the Colossus one.
Great.
All right, yeah, pray to the gods.
Great work, Zenimax. Great work.
Worth wasting money and time.
You've done a fantastic job and we're all very proud of you. But yeah, so amazing. Go into the shops after Prey. Do us all a favour. Let's just keep that rolling.
Yeah, not the Bethesda one.
Yeah, whatever the one which isn't to do with Zenimax, that'll be fine. Right, so from Angrylink, it's...
See you Friday.
And from me, it's... I'm out.